We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids!
All right!
Yum, 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 yum.
Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Hello and welcome back. Hopefully you had a phenomenal Memorial Day weekend. I am Josh.
Labor Day.
Hello, welcome back. Hope you guys had a phenomenal Labor Day weekend. I am Josh.
Thank you.
We can edit that out in post.
I'm the lunch break ombudsman.
Yeah, Labor Day. Had a great Labor Day weekend. I am Josh. In studio with me is Zach, Anna, and Matt. We have a special guest here with us. It is Joyce Logan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You were with Ruby Care Senior Living Advisors.
Yes, that's right.
So you were saying something to Anna before the show got started about how people don't tend to think about senior living care until it's almost too late.
That's correct. I would say 90% of the people wait until they're in crisis mode before they think about senior living options out there.
So when is a good time to, because my mom and dad, they're they're late 60s, early 70s, maybe. No, they're definitely late 60s.
My
Sorry,
parents
Mom
will
and Dad.
be 45 forever, so
Yeah.
I won't worry about it.
So
me.
when's a good time to start thinking about that process or that conversation?
Well, I say sooner the better. I think people need to plan maybe with their financial advisors and maybe look at long-term care insurance, all these things, because people are sticker shock when they find out how much it costs to live in a senior living community.
Yeah,
I know it's probably different for everybody, but is there an average cost for senior living that people should say, this is the number that if I don't know, if I get into a senior living place when I'm in my 80s, this is how much I might want to have saved up?
Well, it can vary because everyone's health issues, vary differently. So if you're living in independent living, you can go as low as $1,400, or if you really have some health issues, it could go up to $10,000 per month. So,
a month?
Yeah. A month.
That's coming up. That's coming up on student living rates. Like that's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's costly.
It's tough. Like I love my grandparents to death. They're up in Michigan. They might be watching. Hi. And they, I know, right? Now I'm on the spot. They're getting up there, and it's getting to a point where I think maybe it's worth having a conversation. A lot of times, like, there are family members that don't want to talk about it. No, everything's fine. Everything's great. Things are good over there. And it's like, yeah, you really got to wrap your head around it because it's a big thing. And you talk about moving out of a house. You got to figure out what to do with that. It's a big transition in life. And like, it just seems like something that people are so uncomfortable about talking about, and they really shouldn't be.
Right.
How do you guys kind of, I don't want to say combat that, but how do you help ease that transition? Do you have consultations with people? Do you show them tours? I mean, what's the secret, I guess?
Well, with Ruby Care, we help families find the senior living communities such as independent living, assisted living, memory care, residential care homes. And so they usually come to us when they are in need of that type of senior living option. So a lot of times they haven't planned. Like I said, 90% of the people are waiting until they're in crisis mode before they make that decision.
Yeah.
Whereas Ruby, who my mother-in-law, the company's named after her, she's 97 and she lives in an independent living community, and she came to us and said, it's time for me to move. And a lot of times that doesn't happen, but in independent living it does more so. But when you're assisted living or memory care, that tends to be a little more complicated, and sometimes you may need to get a care manager or social worker involved, and so we have resources that we resort to if we are not able to handle that.
This is going to sound like a wild question. We don't do a lot of curveballs on this show, but I'm curious. I want to know. There's definitely got to be folks who are moving into senior living who don't like the idea, right? Who are like, I don't want to do that. It feels like I'm moving into another chapter of my life, and I like what I'm doing now. And people, you get older, you get set in your ways, right? That's fair. And personally, looking way ahead of the curve, if I ever make it that far, God willing, tragedy doesn't strike, I'm looking forward to senior living. Are you kidding? I get to ride on the backs of the people who came after me, my kids and loved ones. They get to pay for everything. I get to sit around, do my own thing. It's going to be great. I don't have to pay rent. Other people get to pay it for me. I'm retired. I got a fixed income. What's not to love? That's awesome. But some people don't feel that way. So I'm curious, I guess, like for residents who may not be as excited about it. I don't know. Do you guys have any talking points? Do you have anything to help make them just feel? Yeah, anything to help them feel like, you know what, this is actually a really cool deal. This is not as ominous as some people may draw it out to be.
Correct. Well, funny, Ruby was one of those ladies that didn't want to move to a community.
Yeah.
And so I took her to visit a friend, and her mother lived in a beautiful retirement community. It looked like a museum in a way, and Ruby was like, oh my gosh, this place is fabulous.
It's
all these
nice,
activities, all the meals, and all the socialization that takes place. So she thought they were all like the nursing homes, like her mother lived in for many years because she wasn't able to have the luxury of living in independent living. So she is one of those people that needed to see. And so I say take people on tours, and then they're impressed, and they see all the different aspects and how socialization is so important for them, and that life's a lot easier. It's maintenance free, and so people are taking care of you.
So walk us through that transition a little bit. Ruby was looking for a place to live, and suddenly here you are with Ruby Care.
Yeah.
How'd you jump from A to B?
Okay. Well, it was April of 2016. I was caught in a company downsize after working there for 24 years.
Oh.
Wow.
And so I
that.
thought, okay, what am I going to do in my next chapter of life? And I had studied social work in college, and that's where I started my career. And then I started thinking about all the things that I liked about social work and helping people, and all the previous volunteer work that I've done. So I started thinking about my own experiences helping Ruby move into a community. And it took a couple years to do that. And then a lot of friends found out that I helped and did a lot of research. So they came to me. And then I realized I was good at that. And I really, really enjoyed it. So that's how Ruby Care was kind of born.
Way to go. Yeah, I'd imagine if you take a couple years to look at something like that. I mean, I know it's a long transition process, but I don't think most people take that long. I'm pretty sure that's like, let's knock this out in 3 months. Like, you did your research, took the time.
We did it every week or anything.
Well, no, but I mean, it paid off. Like, all
Right.
that work managed to snowball into something greater.
Right.
So well done.
And then I also helped my mom and stepdad. I got an emergency phone call that they needed to move from, they lived in Atlanta area, to move to Ohio because they couldn't live alone anymore. My stepdad, he ended up passing in a memory care community. He had Alzheimer's, and my mom, she recently moved to a nursing home, and she has dementia. And my sister is the one who cared for them. So I learned a lot about senior living back in 2011, going through that transition.
Yeah.
So, Ruby Care, where is this place? How can people find out more about it? What's it all about?
Well, we aren't a community. A lot of times people think we are a community.
Myself included. Excuse me. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people call me Ruby too, so I'm so used to that.
Right.
But you can reach us by calling or going to our website. You can call 214-536-2979. Our website is rubycaresenior.com.
Actually, that's on the description.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to go, that's on the video.
Oh,
already.
nice moves, Mr. Stoker in
Yes,
the booth. Yeah, with the
Here to help.
description. Well done.
Joyce, it was so good to have you on. Thank you so much for all the information. If you guys are thinking about senior care, obviously reach out. You can go to the link below, click on that, and that gets you directly in contact with someone from your organization. Thanks for sharing your info. Have a phenomenal day.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to come right back with some hot topics and some hot takes. That more on the lunch break show. I can't remember what we actually teased.
Consider me teased.
Yeah, you're teased, sir. Okay, we are back with some hot topics and some hot takes.
I can't wait.
You kind of cut off the interview there. I had
I did,
I had
yeah.
a big question. You just took over.
Well, I apologize.
It's all right. It happens.
The band started playing. It was
Yeah,
done.
it was done. I wanted, because I was thinking while she was talking, the worst job in history came to mind.
Oh, no.
Would be working for a home with senior care,
Yeah.
and then someone's like funds ran out, and you had to like evict
Oh, wow. Yeah.
senior citizens. That is the worst job in history. That's
That's
where my
miserable.
mind went.
That's
Yeah.
pretty up there.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a story.
Please.
Oh,
Of
wow.
course, not
not
personal
Yeah.
experience, but I remember when I was living in the UK, at some point, senior care homes closed down because there were orgies being organized. There.
Well, I mean, that's a thing here, but nobody talks about it. Like, yeah. Right? I mean, that's always been a gag. That's
Why didn't we
always been a
ask that
running.
question?
Not that.
Yes.
They have relations.
What was that?
Those senior citizens make love on a regular basis.
Okay.
But there's not like flippant
Let's
like
see.
they're wearing masks and having a masquerade party.
No, but
It's not Vanilla
literally,
Fidelia.
Parks and Rec spoofed that. F is for Family on Netflix spoofed that. I think Seinfeld kind of had a gag about that at one point. They did a lot of senior
If
living
it's on
stuff.
TV, then it must be
Exactly. Yeah, it's on television, so it has to happen. But that was something they like canceled senior living places for. They shut them down.
yeah, because it came out in a financial statement or something.
Well, hold on. They were like holding them, like the place was holding them?
Place
It was like on the event
organizing them.
calendar?
For senior citizens or for younger, more
For
agile?
senior citizens.
Oh wow, more agile. Stop.
honestly.
More nubile. Yeah.
Now the thing is, was these requested by the tenants, or was the
I can't
the
imagine it's
organization
forced,
being like,
No. That's capitalism hard at work. That was they
Supply
saw a
and demand.
need, yeah, and they knew what they needed to do. That's
You know
what that is.
I'm enjoying bingo. It's
Yeah.
fun. But you know what would be better than bingo?
Yeah.
I always hear when you visit these places, you should go at mealtime just to see like what it's like. Man, why don't you just go at orgy time and just see what's really going on?
What?
Right.
Oh my. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Getting us back on track.
You're not the one that has to live there. It's up to them, really.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
A store recalls a product after it decides it goes too far. So we all enjoy pranks. Yeah, I think we've all seen like the fake throw up or like fake dog stuff that you could like hide around offices.
Love pranks.
Those are all fun. We all enjoy those. Great. Apparently, in Japan, a discount chain store was forced to recall thousands of prank knives. I did the air quotes there. After they realized they were accidentally packaged real sharp knives instead. So they said prank knives. They were actually in the inside the package was a real knife.
No, that was the prank all along.
Yeah.
That was the whole bit. Yeah.
Oh, it killed
As
you.
advertised.
If I bought a prank knife and it turned out to be a real knife, I'd be like, well played.
Yeah,
You got me.
it's a good
Like,
prank.
That's a good bit. Yeah.
I
It's a good
wonder.
prank.
I'm curious if they were if they were just supposed to be like rubber Halloween knives or plastic Halloween knives, or if they were the kind which I always loved as a kid that had the little spring inside where it looked like you were stabbing someone because the blade would
right. It's like
retract into the thing.
Right, it's like a lazy switchblade, and it's a plastic thing, so
Yeah, yeah.
you can just poke it.
Yeah, it's not
going
gonna
to
hurt
like
you.
It goes in,
but
right,
it looks like it's going inside. If it's one of those,
slides into the handle.
So-
you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Here's my problem. It got recalled after an incident happened.
of course.
Of course.
That's how recalls happen, right?
So
That's
a kid was playing with this prank knife, and it didn't say severed, but it did. Severed his finger.
Oh,
So what parent goes, sure, I'll buy you said prank knife. I'll open said prank knife and hand you said prank knife, and then go and play.
and doesn't notice it anywhere
Right.
along that chain that it's
The
a real
sharpness.
knife.
The weight, the weight alone should be a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
I've seen plastic knives in Halloween stores.
Sure.
And there's a clear weight discrepancy.
all right. A lukewarm defense of the prank knife.
Dear God.
problem.
Please.
All right. You ever buy some kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good example and I can't, but in building this studio, I'm sure we ran into it. Some kind of device, right? A phone case or something that like when you click it together to function, you don't get a satisfying like click. You don't get a satisfying like pop. You don't get any kind of like indication that like, oh, this is actually working as advertised. You don't get any kind of like feedback, I guess, from the device. You don't get any kind of like, okay, this thing is working. Specifically a phone case I'm thinking about because I had a phone case once that I closed on my phone and there was no like click. It was
Right.
just like, oh, it works now. Now it's
kind of
waterproof.
holding
I was like,
together.
well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's no like haptic feedback for that. Maybe with this knife, hear me out. They thought this was one that was supposed to like slip into the handle or something and like they couldn't get it to quite go. And I don't know, they gave it to the kid. They weren't thinking about it. The kid gets it, and he's like, man, this isn't quite stab in the carpet or something. This doesn't quite do what I want it to do. Maybe I actually just have to try to use it on my finger and see what happens. Like, maybe he just went for it, you know? Maybe the kid just went blindly into the night.
Just started hacking away at his own
Just
finger.
goes for it. And it probably only took one hit. It's a real knife after all.
imagine.
And lops his finger off, and they go, dang. That's
Got
that.
me.
That's that,
Got-
I guess.
Got me.
I got
Pranked
pranked,
me.
bro.
Yeah. So see this scar. Can you see it on the camera?
Yeah, kind of.
So that scar, I almost lost my finger.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
I was in the too old 6th grade.
Okay.
6th grade.
Alright.
Pocahontas had just come out.
You don't have recess anymore.
Oh
I get it.
my.
You're frustrated.
So whatever that was, whatever the cartoon Pocahontas had come out, that was when
Okay.
this was. Because Burger King had the things in the
Pocahontas
bag.
toys,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I got Pocahontas at a friend's house, and I grabbed, I'll call it a prank knife. It was a real one. And I was going to cut
But you
off.
were gonna do a prank
I was
with it.
going to cut off Pocahontas' head, like be like a, I don't know why, that was going to be a very,
Oh.
very
Yeah.
funny
Sure.
game.
A real nightmare.
Yeah, really. Ha ha ha.
After witnessing the oppression of the white man and
Yeah.
Disney's Pocahontas,
And
you're
I
going to get some
missed.
sweet revenge.
Missed her head and hit my finger and went straight to the bone.
Oh.
And my initial reaction wasn't like pain or like, oh my gosh. It was, this is a super embarrassing way to get cut on my finger. I have to cover this up.
Yep.
So all my friends, like, we went through a whole toilet. We got like the Downy wrap covered on my finger, put Band-Aids, and I should have had stitches, but it healed back perfectly fine.
Well, I mean, not perfectly fine.
Wow.
It's a visible scar, but
Giant scar, yeah.
yeah. Well,
So-
it's a good reason to
Stitches
dry-
would have been nice, I
Yeah.
think, in that situation.
It'd have been cleaner.
But
For
when
sure.
you're a kid, you do everything and anything in your power to avoid stitching. At least myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. So
I remember,
Nice.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so embarrassing. My mom's gonna ask me, how'd you cut your finger? Like, I was trying to cut off Pocahontas doll's head for some strange reason. That's what I thought would be a good guy.
None of that would have made sense to an adult.
None of it to an adult. To me, it made perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah. So
Sure.
one of those kind of childhood stories.
Yeah, sure.
Another, I don't want to call this a prank, or a gag, but it's something that a restaurant did to their produce. To try to I don't know if they were trying to make it like a gimmick or a game, or if they were actually serious.
Okay.
But for produce, you have sometimes in outdoor markets in Spain, for example,
Yes.
they'll leave the eyes in.
It's like a whole fish.
A
Like,
whole
you're talking about fish,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's clean, fresh fish.
Okay, so
got it out of the water that day.
Yeah.
Serving it to you.
When you're saying produce, you don't mean like fruits and veggies. You mean
Sorry, produce is a wrong
Yeah,
word.
got
The
it.
actual meat department.
yeah.
That fish meat.
Fish meat, yeah. So
Fish meat.
this organization, and it looks like it was in the UK, decided to get googly eyes and put it on fish to make it appear as if they're fresh. Again, I'm hoping.
Stop! Don't laugh at this.
I'm
This is
hoping
horrible.
it was a bit. Like, hey, is it funny? Like, these aren't going to be the freshest fish. You're aware of that. Let's go ahead and just put this on there and see what happens. I'm hoping that's what it was. Because like
The story makes it out to be a gag, or like they're trying to pass off fish that might not look so healthy. In fact, I think I have another picture here.
All right.
There it is without the...
Oh wow,
yeah.
So they're trying to pass off.
that's not good.
Yeah, no, that looks very unappetizing without the googly eyes. So they put on the googly eyes, and now that's a fresh looking fish right there. That thing is vibrant and ready to be eaten.
This was actually in Kuwait.
It was in
This is
where?
in Kuwait.
Kuwait.
Oh, Kuwait. Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't probably last long in the UK. This is disgusting. It's disgusting. Especially like there's a fine line between, people say look at the eyes for freshness. That is quite putrid.
Look how
right
fresh those
there.
are. Look how fresh those eyes are right now.
Those are white.
Yeah.
That is
That's white
pure-
it can get.
Yeah.
There's this clever combination here of things that disgust me. All right. First, there's just pulling one over on your customers, which is wrong. Second, there's manhandling of what I assume is a dead animal based on the large gash in its side. And third, there's that real creepy thing where you put something on your eyeball that just freaks me out. And I wear contacts, so you wouldn't think that would bother me, but like, no, it's like halfway under the eyelid, and like oh god, like it's really.
I'm a
it's
big
really not
fan of
great.
sticking googly eyes on things that they shouldn't be on.
I
they're doing that thing.
definitely invested in a good pack of googly eyes from Michael's craft store in college, and would stick them on things just randomly on campus just for laughs. Yeah, like that was usually a good
There's
time.
nothing that's not made better by a pair of googly eyes. I'm convinced of that.
Fish, arguably.
Maybe fish. Well, it's not made. It's not made better fish.
It did make it better.
But man,
Yeah.
look how funny is that?
Right.
Like that's a good gag.
When was the last time a fish made the lunch break? Right.
Yeah.
This is clearly something worth celebrating.
Oh man.
Oh god. Oh god. That after is just not good.
yeah, it's
man.
not good. From one food story to another, we're going to talk about the NFL, making a hard switch here. The NFL has released their concessions, the list of their strange and unusual foods that they have. For once, the Cowboys did not make the list.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I think the ballpark always makes for as far as the
Yeah.
baseball is concerned. The ballpark is always up there.
Yeah, they always have like ginormous, like 3-pound hot dogs
Yeah.
or different kinds of like random stuff. Yeah, the Cardinals, the Texans, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Steelers, the 49ers, and the Lions all made the list. The Lions have desert nachos, which are tortilla chips dusted with cinnamon and sugar. All right, I can dance with that.
Yeah, no.
San Francisco 49ers have the crab pretzel. I'm
Crab pretzel.
yeah, I could the
take that.
pretzel, the baguette with a knuckle of claw meat on there. So some crab claw meat. That's good.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I only in San Francisco. I guess
Yeah.
that would work. I can't see anyone from Pittsburgh being like, "I'll have the."
It's also $37, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
The Steelers have the North Shore potato and cheese filled. I can't pronounce the word Pierogi.
Pierogi?
Pierogi, thank you. Which are basically like potato pillows that you would just stuff in your mouth. Well,
Sign me up for that. That sounds all right.
The Chiefs have the Kingdom Inferno chicken salad, which is basically just a hot chicken salad with the hottest pepper known to man. And why would you want to have a Carolina Reaper salad. That doesn't make sense to me
I'm
at all.
curious.
Like,
Well, we
I'm
told
at
you
a
there were
game.
gonna be
What
hot
I want to do is
topics coming
totally
up.
ruin all my
No,
senses.
you know why? For your goofy friends who dare you to do it, and they're
Sure.
like, "I'll buy you a beer if you eat the stupid salad." And
That's
then-
like Instagram, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
Yes.
buying
This is-
it for somebody and saying, "Here, watch my buddy eat the hot
Yeah.
salad."
Totally.
And the Cardinals with the only actual football-themed one, and it's a Gridiron Challenge Burger, which this is something that I would be, if I lived in Arizona, I would be tempted to do. It is a $75 masterpiece with 5 1/3 pound. So it's like a pound and a half.
Pound and a half, or a pound and 2/3.
Yeah. 5 hot dog, 5 brats, 8 sides of bacon, 8 chicken tenders, 20 slices of American cheese, and with fries and tanker sauce, and it's stacked on a 10-inch bun.
Wow, I was gonna
With
say
veggies.
$75 is rich, but that's a lot of food.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of mileage out
It's
of that.
still ballpark prices, right? Anywhere
I
else,
guess,
that'd be a
that's,
flat 50.
That's a one burger. All that's one burger.
Yeah. 8 pieces of bacon, 20 slices of American
Like 5
cheese.
hot dogs. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got no for
5 hot
$75.
dogs
That's
and
crap.
5 brats.
All right.
That's
How
like
does that
Sign
doesn't
me up.
hot
fit on
dog,
one-
brat, hot dog. You cut them in half.
Yeah.
Like Anna's just shaking her head. And this is what Americans do.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Welcome.
Find ways.
Listen,
Welcome to
Anna.
America.
All right.
Yeah.
We're
We
going to lay it
find
out
ways.
for you.
Well, I'm pulling this face, but at the same time, I'm remembering these Portuguese sandwich, which has beef and sausage and ham and like
yeah. There
bread
we go.
and
I'm into whatever's happening there.
cheese.
Yeah, that sounds
oh
great.
my god, it's delicious. So I'm kind of like, hey, yay, but at the same time, like, I
I
get
don't.
it.
I don't go to the ballpark enough to know the answer to this. But if I'm wrong, all right, or if I'm right, I should say, I want to get it out now here on the lunch break.
Yeah.
Make my claim that I was the first to come up with this brilliant idea. So if it ever comes around, this is recorded proof that I'm brilliant.
Okay.
And I am owed dividends. The State Fair, Texas. They ever do any crossover with any of the? Like, seriously,
No.
why not take like the top 5 Big Tex finalists or something and
Yeah.
like stick them in the ballpark?
Because the state
Or
fair
like
of Texas
the one.
doesn't want to lose their revenue.
Right, but like after the fair's over, like whatever the winner is of like the Big Tex Choice Award or whatever, or like the 3 winners, because I think they got Sweet, Savory, and Most Creative or something, stick those in the ballpark all year or something. Like immortalize them for a perennial year. Like you can get that item in some form or fashion. I mean, it's state fair food. They make them in fryers. They're supposed to be made fast. It's not like you can't immediately turn that over and sell it to people for a profit. Like I just was surprised there's never any
the timing
cross
would be
promotion.
weird because the state fair is September, October, which is about when
Playoffs.
baseball season is wrapping up. So then you'd have a whole off season until you get back around to what,
right.
April?
Plus,
The last chance to get that
Before it
sweet
would come
item.
back.
Plus, those people at the state fair, they buy the rights to sell those foods. So now you're going
Right.
into the ballpark saying, hey, we want to have our own thing, which is take away from the ballpark concessions. The ballpark's not hurting for concessions. You're already there.
Right.
You're already buying the cheap hot dogs and the $20
It's probably
nachos.
that neither entity needs it.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
just-
probably the.
I suppose you're right, but the people need it. Damn it,
great
that's what's
idea.
important. Yeah.
but then you lose the special and the need for going
True.
to go to the state fair to actually eat it.
Just seemed weird. I don't know. This is Texas. All right, we got the fattest city in America over here. What are we doing? How do we not have like some sweet cross promotion between
How
the
are
Big
we
Tex
the
Choice
fattest
Awards?
city? That's not accurate. We're not the fattest city.
I saw
How
a
dare you,
study
sir?
last week.
How dare you?
Reliable numbers, I'm sure.
I'm sure Cincinnati disagrees.
Yeah.
Houston
it's-
might have something to
it's-
say about
It's
that.
always like Mississippi. They're always somewhere in there for some strange reason.
Houston's what, 4th, I think.
Yeah, I
that's
don't
who
know.
I was talking about. That's and I'm
Yeah.
from there, so I feel okay about saying that.
While we're on the NFL, I probably shouldn't bring this up. Like, there's a part of me that's saying, don't talk about
How
this.
could we not?
There's a small part of me saying this is a really bad idea. But I want to get this out there. And feel free to jump in the comments. I see Seth Denson has joined us. I'm sure he'll be giving us
I'm curious to catch his
hot
thoughts.
take.
Yeah.
So with the Nike ad that has come out, they have 4 of them that came out. The only one that's getting any sort of attention at all is the one with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
That is the only one. They did have a really cool one with a guy who's a running back in college, and he's missing an arm. I didn't even hear about this guy, but he's missing a hand. Sorry. His hand is gone. And he's a running back, which is it's important to have both of those to run. But the ad said something like, who believed I could go pro? Me. It's a really cool
No,
kind
it's
of
nice.
ad. Yeah, it's an ad.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Nice ad.
I know.
visual thing. You can be skeptical if you want to, but
No,
I believe I like seeing that. You know, he's trying. Fine, I get all that. And the other players too all have little inspirational
I
things.
want to say
Great.
Serena Williams was in there. I think
Yeah.
she's got a thing. Yeah.
Because it says women from Compton don't play tennis; they own it or they dominate. One of those
Something
things.
like that, yeah.
My only issue I had with it, and again, I'm not going back to should you or shouldn't you not kneel. That's to me is a moot point. My only problem with this campaign is it paints a narrative of someone that is not accurate.
Okay.
It is painting a narrative of Colin Kaepernick, of being that he sacrificed his NFL career, put his career on the line for a cause that he believed in and wanted to bring attention to, and the NFL totally threw him to the curb because of it.
Right. That's the only reason he's not playing football today is because he took a knee.
Hence the lawsuit.
Right.
Hence the lawsuit that he has against the NFL currently.
I suppose we need to let the courts decide whether or not that's accurate. Because I mean, that's what they're doing. They're getting a jury to put together
Yeah.
to like decide whether or not that's legit.
The people that I've read have said there's no way that'll go. Like there's too many things in evidence
Right.
A lot of circumstantial evidence is what they have. They have no hard facts. Especially the fact that there's still, dozens and dozens of players who kneel or all last season and are still playing in the NFL is a great case in point to argue his side.
Right.
My issue with this is that he was already cut. So if the timeline is what I look at, the timeline of the story, he first kneeled at the beginning of the season in 2016 when he first, I think, took a knee. He was already second string. He was no longer the starter. He was taken out the following year from a starter after throwing for 4 yards in 3 quarters. That does not make a starting quarterback. He was benched that game and never started again. The next season, he began to take a knee and saying it was for bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter, which, by the way, was on every single national TV news headline. I think we were all very aware that was going on. But again, beside the point, it's his right to do that. But it paints this narrative that this guy sacrificed a career, and that, to me, isn't accurate. He didn't sacrifice a career.
I mean, like, the only thing you have to do is look at Michael Vick, right? Michael Vick convicted or pleaded guilty to fighting dogs, getting dogs to murder each other, basically, torture of animals. He goes to jail, comes out, he plays, he's back in the NFL. So it's if you're good enough, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, the Cowboys have proved this. It doesn't matter what you do. They'll pick you up for any reason if you're good enough. So, yeah, I do think it's a little bit of a twisted narrative that if not for him taking a knee, then he would still be playing in the NFL. As far as Nike's concerned, I mean, I'm sure Nike made a calculated decision.
Sure.
One, like, I've seen a lot of people be very cynical about it and saying it's merely business. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think you make this ad without somebody there saying, I want to make a statement about this. I believe in this. Because you could have picked anybody else. There are a million other good stories that like the other ones that you mentioned. So you could have picked anybody else. Somebody said, hey, I think we ought to make this statement. I think we ought to get behind this guy. And then they looked at the numbers and they said, you know what, we can endorse him for this much money. He's not playing in the NFL, so he's probably a little cheaper than everybody else. We can endorse him for this much. We'll get this much out of it. Some people are gonna be stupid and cut the Nike logos off their socks, but like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think at the end of the day, if it didn't make business sense, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But still, I do think they're trying to wade into the public discourse on
Yeah,
this.
sure. And I think the Wall Street Journal had an article about this today, and they were saying they're paying him the NFL starter rate. So he's getting paid the same as every other athlete, which is a multi-million-dollar contract.
Which is impressive.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
So I think if they would have paid him less, that would have been a huge black eye for them.
Maybe.
So
but he's also not a
starter.
He's not going to be wearing their stuff on game day.
They interviewed the CEO or one of the top managers, one of the top brass for Saucony. Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a
Saucony.
It's a shoe line. And he said, "Look, he goes, Nike can do this because they have the funds to weather any short-term adverse effect. Like they can take a hit now. He goes, in the long run, this will be seen as a very progressive, it fits more in a line with their company, their consumer, which is the 18 to 35-year-old. It fits much more in line with those consumers than it does the people who are cutting the logos off their socks, which tend to be the 35 to 55-year-old. And you
know what? I promise you, 6 months, a year from now, when they go to the store to buy new socks, they're just going to pick up Nike socks, so they like Nike socks, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, who remembers the controversy around? I'm sure some people do remember the controversy around Chick-fil-A, but you know what? They're doing fine.
Yep.
I still see Yeti coolers everywhere, even though they dropped their support of the NRA. It's this stuff. It boils up and then it immediately dissipates, and so I'm sure. The people who are burning their own shoes because they're mad at Nike are gonna buy a Nike product again. Maybe not all of them, but I bet a lot of them are.
Right. I think the advantage Kaepernick has here and Nike is just flat out ignorance. And I'll explain why. Because we've talked about this before. I'm terrible at sports. There's a lot of people I don't know in sports. There's a lot of sports I don't know how they work, man. It's true. We had a quiz the other day about what was his name on Twitter.
I thought you were going to say the Hall of Famer that came in.
It wasn't Peyton Manning.
Troy Aikman.
Yeah, Troy Aikman. Yeah. Right. I asked Anna. We had a little contest. Who knows less about Troy Aikman? And you two were both very disappointed in both of us. We had a Hall of Famer who was in yesterday. Tim Brown.
Tim Brown.
Yeah, he was on Ballers on HBO, and I was like, no idea. No clue.
Also had a really long career in the NFL.
I'm sure
Hall of Fame.
I'm sure he's very accomplished.
Receiver,
yeah, I believe it. The thing with getting
for the record,
getting a lot of laughs on Facebook. The thing with Colin Kaepernick is, as somebody who knows almost nothing about sports, there's a lot of athletes I don't know who have done a lot more than Colin Kaepernick, but I know who Colin Kaepernick is. And at some point in this kid's life, guy's life, I should clarify, somewhere along the way, he decided, you know what? Maybe this football thing isn't working out for me. Maybe I don't want to do football. Whatever he decided, there was an ideological shift. I'm not going to do this thing I've been training my whole life for. I'm going to do this now, right? Sure. I'm willing to duck out of this organization, probably because he sucked. I get it. Like, it's fine. But as somebody who doesn't keep up with sports, I don't know that. I haven't seen those numbers. I don't know anything about that. But I do know that this guy is making headlines for this. He is relevant. He is news. And
but
Nike
he shouldn't be.
Sure. But as again, somebody who doesn't know any of that, like, I wouldn't know any better. Like, in the court of public opinion, Colin Kaepernick is in a better spot than a lot of people. And Nike is aware of that. They're a big brand. They know that. Yep. And so aligning themselves with him, like, it's exactly that. It makes news. People turn their heads. And while some people will burn Nike products, other people will double down and can't wait to go buy more Nike stuff. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win for both of them. Yeah. And besides, he's getting a starter contract or whatever, which is great. More money for him. So, right? Didn't you say that? From Nike? He's getting paid the same as what
he's getting paid a NFL starting player rate.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
So, it's I guess it comes down to, like, that idea of, like, truth and reality and what is real and what isn't. And like, at the end of the day, what people think matters more than truth. And yeah, that's Colin Kaepernick.
That's just one of the things that, I've heard of people who are protesting the NFL, not because of this. They're burning their shoes. And again, I stand. A boycott very rarely works. Yeah. I can think of a couple of examples in history where a boycott actually did something. Unless you're a nation and you can put sanctions on another country, then those tend to kind of work out. But a grassroots boycott, those very rarely pan out well.
And I don't want to tell people that if you feel strongly about it,
sure,
which reasonable people can disagree on this issue. If you feel strongly about it and you don't want to support Nike, that's fine. No one is forcing you to buy Nike products. I would encourage you that if you do have stuff that you don't feel like wearing anymore, go donate it.
Yeah.
Don't just burn it like an idiot, and don't cut it up.
For the likes on social media.
Yeah, go.
But again, those are not reasonable people.
No, they're not. They're not. But I mean, this is even more evidence that your heart's, I think, not maybe in the right place. If you're so mad that they put a guy's face on an ad, that you're going to burn your shoes rather than say maybe give them to somebody who needs shoes and doesn't really care whether they're Nike or they're whatever
they are. That's one of the things that bothers me. I think I texted you guys the little like shade that was being thrown at Nike.
Oh my!
And then Google jumped in. If you could find that text chain,
oh God!
But like that's again like on the other side of that coin. Yeah, I'm annoyed at the narrative that Colin Kaepernick has somehow got himself into. Where everyone forgets, everyone forgets that there's actual NFL players who did lose out on contracts. There's a Hall of Fame safety out there. I forget his first name. His last name is Green, who has a much better case for not getting picked up in the NFL because of his stance toward the way that he feels like African Americans are being treated in this country.
Right.
There's a much better argument to be made there for him than for a guy that was already benched as a starter, had a whole season and didn't play a game, was a huge distraction the entire time, and became even more of a distraction after he got benched.
No, being annoyed is the correct answer because it's not reality. Yeah, and you know that. You can look at his stats and be like, no, he wasn't that good. But like,
he was great.
Me and half the other Joes out there have no idea about that. Like, he
was great when he first came on the scene and he first started playing. He was phenomenal. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he just got the case of the blues, but he lost his touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people lose their mind and become irrational and make up the facts to back up their support. I think that's what Dawn in this case was doing.
Right. Yeah. This was Dawn posted, some woman named Dawn, posting it on, I guess this looks like Facebook.
Yeah.
Where she was saying people need to remember the company is not an American company. Nike responds with saying we're based in Oregon. Oregon is in America.
Just in case you're curious.
Yeah. She says just because your headquarters is in Oregon doesn't mean you're American. Google is in California. But is nationally owned. Google isn't an American company either. And then Google writes back down here at the bottom, we're based in California. California is in America. But we get what you're saying. We're technically in America, but we operate globally, kind of like how you're in Wisconsin, but operate ignorantly.
That's like, man, like whoever did that, when they hit send, they were like, nice.
Yep, they were.
Sick,
felt good about that one.
Burn.
Doing it under the Google banner.
Yeah. Again, but like I support both Nike and Google's right to do that. But I think I support Nike's right to say this is who we want to have on ads. This is who we want to put on billboards. I'm annoyed at the narrative. But obviously, I think it is a smart move on Nike. And if I was in the boardroom, maybe I would have done the exact same thing. I think they're going to see much more dividends than they are going to see backlash in the long term.
Yeah. God. Just such a big part of that is because boycotts don't work. Anyway, we should probably move on to something else. I don't know if I have much more to say about this.
Don't look at me. So like sports and...
What was another one of those hot topics we teased?
We're going to take a quick... Go ahead. You have something to say, Matt?
No.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we're going to be talking about another story. I'm looking it up right now. What was it? We already teased it once.
Zach's story?
Yeah, Zach's story. We have a birthday fail coming at you next.
Stop.
Again, we are the Lunch Break Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For now, we are here. It's me, Zach, Anna, and Matt, and we're talking about and again, I'm calling it a birthday fail. You said stop, but today is your lovely girlfriend's birthday.
It is. I wanted to give her a shout out on the show. Happy birthday, Christine. Lovely 27 years old.
Nice. That's a great year. Great year.
That's not bad.
I have no idea.
27.
27.
Man, what a year.
It all comes together. So right now she is out. She took the day off.
She takes the day off on her birthday.
She's out gallivanting around Dallas.
How do we feel about that, by the way? I don't want to start any any shade here, but how do we feel about taking the day off on her birthday?
We had a birthday yesterday in the office for a certain somebody that doesn't like birthdays.
I said I don't like birthdays. Like I just, to me, birthday, because so the 3rd was actually my birthday, so it was on Labor Day,
Memorial Day,
Memorial Day,
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
It is Labor Day.
It's Labor Day.
It was on the 3rd, and for me, like I didn't do anything for my birthday. I didn't deserve any high praise or to have the whole office stop down and sing. I was just born. I had no control over that. It wasn't like that's my anniversary or that's the day I graduated or some sort of big event that I accomplished something. Just the day I was born. So for me, I know that's not a universal thought process. For me, that's how I feel.
Right.
So
here's my thing. I'm similar. I actually used to take my birthday off. That used to be a thing I did. And a couple years ago I did it. And the lovely folks here at Real News PR sent me a very lovely you might remember this, a very lovely video where they had ordered Tiff Streets to the office. And I wasn't there because I took the day off for my birthday and nobody looked at the calendar to be aware that I was going to be gone. And
that sounds about right.
I told everybody I told people I'm not going to be here tomorrow, and everybody was cool with it. And then things show up for my birthday and I'm not here. So they sent me a video and everybody's like, you suck. You're the worst. You didn't show up for your own birthday celebration. I'm the same way. I don't like opening gifts in front of people. I don't like people singing happy birthday to me. I don't like going to a restaurant and, hey, put the hat on and everybody, all the way to sing. All that. I don't want any of it. I never have. I don't like that. I don't like this idea that there's one day arbitrarily to celebrate something in my life that for everybody else is not particularly important. It's not that big of a deal. It's just another day. And I'm cool with that. That's me personally.
Yeah.
Celebrating other people's birthday, I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to sing. I will gifts and cards. I'm all for it.
Can we as a culture agree that the birthday song is too long?
Sure.
It takes way too long to get through.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Happy birthday to you. Done.
Yeah, that's all you need.
All right. Just a jingle. Just a quick.
Every time I hear the birthday song sung in a large group of people, it sounds like a dirge. Everybody is just completely not into it. No one is into singing that song.
Right. And Anna.
I clearly have thoughts on this. How?
Yeah,
because the Portuguese song is different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, do you mind?
Please.
Go ahead.
Do I need to sing it?
Yep, in
It's
Portuguese.
long.
Go ahead.
Okay, well,
Is
if
it
it's
long?
long?
Don't
That's a
ask
problem.
me to translate it back because it will take me forever. All right.
Okay, here's with a couple bars.
All right. Parabéns a você nesta data querida, muitas felicidades, muitos anos de vida. And this is the second part that normally everyone speeds up. Hoje é dia de festa, cantam as nossas almas para a menina or menino, depending on if it's girl or boy.
Yeah,
sure.
Uma salva de palmas. Woo!
So you sing it twice.
You just say boy, happy birthday, boy or girl?
No, then you insert name, but you have the gender.
Okay.
So
Right.
you have the menino or menina, being girl or boy, and then you say their name.
Boy Josh.
Boy Josh.
Yeah.
And yeah, normally, hang on.
Because it sounds pretty similar to Happy Birthday to you.
It does, but
Happy
it's
birthday
the tune is
to
similar.
It's a
you.
little bit more, and this is going to sound
The,
creepy because people sing
lyrics
it.
are different.
It's a little bit more sing-songy because you're saying it in a different language and it's got a little bit more something to it. Ours, you're right. It sounds like everyone's happy birthday. Nobody cares, right? Everybody just wants a cake and go back to their office. That's what they want. And you're right though. The 2 bars is rough. You'd sing it twice. That's too much.
Yeah.
That's like the Joker at every birthday party. Who does the and many more.
Oh gosh,
Stop.
get out of here. Get out of
Go
here.
home.
Is that guy worse or the guy that does the high harmonies? Which one is the worst?
What's the high harmonies?
when you do that? You go happy birthday. You go
I feel like it's probably the same guy in both.
Yeah.
I think it's in Spain or Mexico, where the song is like long.
It's like a
It's like
ballad.
excruciating pain of long lyrics.
I don't want to lose the thread here, but personally, I don't think there's a problem with taking the day off. All right, for your
Sure.
birthday.
All right,
I
yeah.
used to
Fair
do it
enough.
until coworkers griefed me till
There'll
I
be
stopped
some
doing
disagreement
it.
here, but that's
yeah.
fine.
Someday I'll do it again, and it'll happen again. But like that's just and honestly, like why not treat yourself with a day off on your birthday? Like why not have a Ferris Bueller day where you blow the day off and go to a ball game or the zoo or something and do your own thing? Like what better way to celebrate you than actually enjoying life instead of being in your office?
I mean, look, I may throw shade at it, but my birthday falls around Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and
Yeah.
usually we would have that day off in school, or like we would have a Monday off, and so I would always consider that. Well, I got the Monday off for my birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm not hating on
Not
it, but
knocking
it does feel like a thing that if you're, I don't know, if you're in your 20s, knock yourself out. I feel like if you're 40. If you're 40 years old and you're taking the day off for your birthday, what are you doing? Like,
Maybe.
nobody cares that you're taking the day off for your birthday.
That's when you get to go to the doctor, get caught up
Right,
on
yeah.
all your
my
past.
You take the day off,
all
yeah.
your tests, yeah.
Oh God.
I'll be honest, I like it. I like coming to work because, I mean, what am I saying? Like last birthday, this year we went away, but my
course.
birthday was on the weekend though. But I don't know, I like the thing about just having some thing to like go through my day and then appreciate when I get to the evening. It's like, yes, I do what I want,
Sure.
rather than
Yeah.
doing what I want the whole day.
Okay.
So here's
Sorry to derail.
Yeah, so here's the dilemma we're facing.
It's not a dilemma.
So Christine is off having a wonderful time. Well, it's just now starting to pour down rain.
Well,
so
she's in Fort Worth, so maybe she's dodging that.
there you
Yeah,
go.
we'll see.
So she's at the zoo enjoying herself. Here's the dilemma, because
Right.
you said to her last night, you're like, hey, dear, darling.
Well, let me build this up a little bit before
Please.
you get to it. She did this last year. She took the day off for her birthday. And last year I had said, hey, I'll take the day off too. That'll be great. We'll go to the zoo. We'll go to the Perot. We'll do something neat. And then I forgot and didn't do it. So this year,
That's good. That's
like
really
the
good.
day after last year, no lie, I scrolled all the way ahead in Google Calendar to September 5th, 2018. It was like, Zach is gone. Like I was out. Thank you.
I was
you
trying
want
to
to hit it
yeah,
again? There it is.
There you go.
I wanted to take the day off, and I wanted to, But last year, she posted to social media, she posted to Facebook about it, and I felt bad because on her birthday, there's all these photos of her on the internet alone, and I was like, man, that's not a great look. Like I'm the boyfriend. I should be there. I should be the one taking the photos at
Yeah.
least.
I need to be in every aspect of her life.
Right, naturally, being the selfish cynic that I am, I
Yeah.
felt, well, this reflects poorly on me.
Yeah.
Like this is bad for me.
Sure.
So I told her about it, and I said, listen, next year I want to take the day off. She said, great. And then coming up on it this year, about a month ago, I said, hey, I've got the day blocked off on my calendar. I'm ready to take the day off. She said, for what? I said, your birthday. She goes, oh, why? I was like, because like it's last year I forgot, and this year I figured I'd take the day off and we'd go do something. She was like, oh, I mean, you can, I guess. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? You can, I guess. Like, what am I supposed to? Let me.
That's the sound that should be going off in your head.
The sound of the police.
Yeah.
Right. You can, I guess. Like, what is that? What, I'm not invited? Like, what were you not planning on having me? And she goes, well, no, it's not that. It's just last year I had a really good time, like, doing my own thing. And we talked about this at work. This is when this first came up. Matt was the first one to point out, honestly, going to the zoo or the museum by myself, like, that might be really cool. I could go
I'm
at my
not
own
opposed to the
pace.
idea.
Yeah. I could do my own thing. Like, I kind of like that. And me personally, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever been to the zoo or a museum with somebody that we have the same pace as far as like wanting to look at things or
Never
hang out with the animals
No.
or spend another 5 minutes at the cheetah exhibit because can't quite see them yet.
Right.
Or, read something in a museum. So yeah, the idea of going on my own and being able, no one's going to pull me away from the freaking earthquake exhibit at the museum because I'm going to get to do it.
Right.
But if it's your birthday, no one should pull you away, period. Your job as a significant other on their birthday is to do whatever they want to do.
Don't act like that's how it goes down.
That's how it goes down for me when my wife wants to do something
Oh,
on her
well,
birthday.
excuse me.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
there. I am a people pleaser.
I forgot I was talking to the man.
Exactly.
But
King of
yeah.
the castle. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that doesn't sound terrible. Now, I wouldn't ever be like, No, you're forbidden from coming to my birthday celebration or anything like that.
No, and that didn't happen. But it was just a little bit of pushback that I wasn't expecting. When it was like, wait, you actually want to? Okay, I guess you can if you want. You don't have to. And the fact is, like, man, I'm fabulous. All right. If you want me somewhere, you tell me you want me to be there, and I'll make it happen. But if you're gonna be like, I guess you can come along if you want, you can have it. All right. You go do your cool thing. I'm gonna get some work done, and I'll catch you on the other side. And that's what it was. I was like, listen, you want me to be there? I'm there. But if you're gonna be ambiguous about it, that's it. Like, I'm going to work. Like, I got things to do here. I had to come here for the lunch break today, right now. Yeah. So I could talk about this. And she was just ambivalent, and I told her, we talked about this after you and I talked about it. I got home, I'm like, well, Matt said this. And she said, don't put me. No. I said, oh, here's what Matt said. And she said, Matt and I would probably get along really well because that's how I feel. And
Maybe I should have taken the day off.
So do you? Yeah. So do you?
Zoo hanging out.
Do you want to go to the zoo alone? What do you want to do? And it was the whole way complete ambiguity. You do you. You do what you want.
Yeah.
It's up to you. So I told her, I was like, I'm putting it back on schedule then. I'm going to work. And she's like, okay. I'm like, you're cool with that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, this is on you. I'm not taking a hit for this. Like, if you,
sir,
if you like, this one's on. This is your game. And she was like,
you can't say I'm not taking a hit for this. That means you're going to be taking a hit for this. You've already set yourself up to take a hit.
Not in my house. That is not how the game is played. Yeah. You chumps may have fallen into the rut you're in, but me, all right, I'm not.
If you're setting up the precursor for, hey, I don't want you to get mad at me, but that's what's going to happen.
No, this is the same reason I'm willing to stay up late and play video games, okay? Because I'm going to be me, and that's how I'm going to do a relationship. And if I'm going to be anything less than me, there's no point in doing it. Like, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be myself, and this is how I roll. And if it doesn't work, that's a bummer. But, like, at least I wasn't lying to myself along the way, all right? I'm going to play my game by my rules. And if I find somebody out there who's willing to play that too, what a great deal we've got worked out, right? But if I have to be dishonest and be somebody I'm not, what's the point? What's it all for?
Stop.
What's the meaning?
Stop grandstanding. We're all somebody that we're not when you're in a relationship.
I'm not.
There's a little
you
part
make
of
concessions for the other person.
Yes.
No.
I love my wife, and I know that she's watching right now.
She is.
And there are things when you stop being a you and you become a we.
Yeah.
There's things that you have to do. There's little parts of yourself that you have to go, it's more important to give up this small part of me to become a we.
Well, sure.
But you can't be this independent lone ranger and expect some person, whether that's a man or a woman, to just be waiting at home for your whim to come by and say hi to them. Like, there has to be I know that I want to do this, but it's more important to me that you're happy.
Right.
And so I'm gonna sacrifice the I for the we.
Right.
That has to happen.
Yeah,
if that doesn't
does.
happen, you're never going to find something where I'll be me all the time and do what I want to do. And then if you want to stand beside me and watch what I do, then great.
Sure.
That doesn't exist.
I agree to a point. I think it's easy to fall down that slippery slope and end up in a place where you're not yourself. And I think you got to find that fine balance, and you got to say, look, here's what I stand for, and here's what I'm willing to do because I think you're great, and I want to be a part of what you're doing, right? I think there's a fine line there, and maybe a birthday is over that line. Personally, I don't think it is. Like,
no.
Well, so just ask yourself if all the mixed messaging or whatever aside, because I've come to learn none of that stuff means anything. Like, you could be dealing with somebody and they'll say one thing and what they're really thinking is, you shouldn't have to be asking me this question. I'm mad at you, so I'm not, were I in your shoes, I would be thinking, gosh, I should have just taken the day off, because clearly what she's saying right now is, well, I mean, it didn't mean anything to you. It wasn't important to you. So,
right.
You don't have to go because you clearly don't want to go anyway. And playing it off that way. That's what I would read from that situation. But I would just say, if in your heart, do you believe that she would have enjoyed spending the day with you? Yes or no?
No, I guess not.
Okay, there you go. Then I guess you made the right decision.
Hear me out. I knew a guy that was a friend in college, right? His dad had recently gone through a divorce, and it was kind of nasty, but only on one side, because he'd been married to this woman for a while, and this woman was crazy about him, and the dad told her, listen, every weekend I like going out and I like going fishing. That's my thing. Every weekend, that is what I do. I like I'll work hard and I'll do my thing, but like on the weekends, I'm going to the cabin, I'm going fishing. That's how Dad did it. It's how America does it. It's worked out pretty well so far. So we get down to it, and after a few years, you know, she goes with him every weekend. She hangs out at the cabin, she hangs out in the boat, and she gets bored because she hasn't been fishing her whole life. Like, she's not into it, right? So eventually she doesn't go out on the boat. Then suddenly, a few years later, she's not going to the cabin. And she starts to resent him for it because every weekend the guy goes to the cabin. But he told her from the very beginning, listen, this is what I'm about. I like fishing. I'm going to be me. And so at some point, she decides, you know what, I'm not into this anymore and I don't want to do it. And she never really was into it in the first place. She was just making concessions because she wanted to please this person she liked. And he did too. But he was also honest and said that he liked fishing.
But
and I think it's important to draw that distinction.
Do you not see like the contradiction in that statement? She's making concessions to please the person that she loves. He is not making any concessions. I don't care what you say at the beginning.
Right.
You at some point you'd be like, you know what? I know you don't really. I mean, you could tell in that situation that she's not enjoying herself.
Totally. And
so you could say, you know what? At this, I don't have to go fishing every weekend. I don't have to go fishing every weekend.
The guy's stubborn. I agree.
You know, you could say, you know what? This weekend we'll get to do whatever it is you want to do. That's her weekend too.
Yeah, it takes two to tango. It takes two to get a divorce. I get that. But if I go to the, you know, if I'm the kind of person that'll go to an art museum and I find myself enjoying it the most when I have a pair of headphones in and I'm alone and I'm not with anybody, it's difficult for me to think that there's a possibility that there's somebody else in the world, especially the person who is closest to me, who kind of feels the same way sometimes.
Yeah, we're not saying in this, for instance, you made a mistake. If you genuinely feel like she's like, hey, you know what, I like doing this by myself, then you're fine. But there's the whole sense of like, for some reason, a lot of people feel that way, and I did too. Whenever I was not married, when I get married, I'm gonna, you know, and I had a whole list of things that I was gonna do, and none of those things got done because in actuality, you realize I want to keep my wife happy, and she does things because she wants to keep me happy, and it's that parable about the watch and the comb and the whole thing. Whereas when we first got married, she would go with me over to my friend's house, and we would sit around and play Call of Duty together. She didn't want to be there. It wasn't that she had fun, I think, but it wasn't like her like ideal Saturday night to eat pizza and drink beer and play video games. That was my ideal Saturday night.
Right.
And she would like sit in the back and like read her book and have a good time. But you know, as we grew older, like those things changed, and I don't do that anymore. I don't go over to a guy's house until 2 a.m. One, because we have a baby, which changes everything. But for the most part, it's one of those deals that as you grow, you have to grow together. You can't be this oak that goes, I will not be bending or moving. Otherwise, you have that where they're fine with it for a while, and they realize there's no give.
Right.
This guy and those relationships break every single time. Or they become this loveless, like we're just cohabitating situation where it's you go fishing, I'll go with my girlfriends, and we'll never talk to each other again. And I've known relationships that have gone that way as well. It's just important, I think, to kind of have a little like, if you're not married, realize that marriages mean compromise. It means giving up what you want to help the other, as long as they're giving up part of what they want to make you happy.
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's like it's not about changing yourself. It's about your priorities change, right? Like it's things that were important to you whenever you were single or not married, or I don't even think marriage has to be the thing that changes it. It's just, you know, as time goes on, those things become, I think, less important. And it's not a matter of I'm not who I once was. It's a matter of I am who I am now. And part of my things that are priorities for me are, you know, making compromises and keeping the other person happy.
Right.
This is a strangely serious topic we got on here.
Yeah. Can I offer a footnote to this?
Yeah, please.
Because I don't know if I filled you guys in on what we did instead of this. All right. We talked about it, right? We decided I'm not going to go to the zoo. Instead, I bought tickets to Perot on Monday. We went. Spent the whole day there. It was great. Took her to dinner after. Like, it was a good time.
Good.
Hung out. And then tonight, I'm getting out a little early, which is cool, to take her to dinner, give her a couple gifts. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
we did go out. We did go do a thing for a day.
It started off being kind of a gag, like, ha ha ha, you made a mistake.
What a louse.
Yeah, what a louse. Obviously, we
very
know.
quickly, yeah,
Obviously, you know, you're caring, you're compassionate, you care about her deeply. We know all those things to be actually true.
Well, yeah.
But it broke off into a more serious conversation because I've known people before who have had that, like, I'm set in my ways.
Yeah.
And I don't want to change who I am, and that will never work unless you find someone. And I wouldn't want to be in a relationship that ends up the way that those end up.
No, I think it's important to have a finger on your own pulse. You got to know who you are and also who you were and who you might become, right? We're constantly changing.
Yeah.
We change every day. I got behind a guy this morning in traffic and suddenly I'm angry, like, versus when I woke up this morning I felt good. Like, we're always different people, right? And I think it's important to understand that and also understand that, like, yeah, you're going to change and the person you're with is going to change, and as long as you're changing together, things should work out okay.
A very special episode.
Yeah.
Lunch break.
A great little footnote, I hope. So I'll let you know if I get crucified. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how that goes. But I feel okay about it. So yeah.
I think you should feel okay about it. There's nothing to worry about. You're totally fine.
Thanks.
You know, and this goes back to
Matt, stop laughing. Don't do that.
No, you're totally fine. Everything's fine.
Things are okay.
Oh man,
I'm fine.
I had it pulled up. Here we go. The more you know. Well, there you go. You guys have a great day. We'll see you back on Friday. Sorry we got a little bit serious on there. Again, leave comments, and if you want us to talk about other topics that may be on your mind, we'd be more than happy to read those. I am Josh, Zach, Anna, and Matt. Say have a great day.
So
see
you need
guys
a website.
on Friday.
Let me show you how I made mine with Wix.
What are you doing?
Thanks, Wix. Well, this show brought to you by
First,
Wix.
I went to Wix.
Good, our first sponsor.
.com.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Bye.